Hi everybody, thanks for watching my video. So I'm with Natalie Cowen. How are you doing, Natalie?
I'm good, thank you. Welcome to First Direct.
Thanks, and first time. I'm so pleased and excited to be here. That's where the magic happens, as I said to Paul and Amanda earlier today. We saw each other very briefly at a social media conference a few months ago, so it's a pleasure to catch up in person. Yeah. Could you please share your vision of social media, how important it is, and how you started to implement it as a brand/communications
yeah, sure.
thing?
I think for First Direct, it's one of those brands where people are engaging with us on a daily basis on the telephones and having these, you refer to magic, where the magic happens, and they're magical conversations. So for us it's about going where those conversations are happening now that social media exists. So social media has become a real kind of focus for us in the communications team, and it's how we can take the brand message out to our customers and really engage with them in the spaces where they are. And so the ambition for us is to be wherever our customers are and to have those magical conversations with them.
Does it mean that you've done a lot, and we'll cover your initiatives so far in the last 2 years or a bit more than that? Does that mean, we talked with Paul as well, Paul Say, in terms of outreach strategy, and can you maybe give more information about that? So in the next few months you might just leave your own assets and interact on other assets online?
Yeah, exactly. So it's two-pronged. So we have exactly as you say, our assets, so on our website. So First Direct Lab is one of the initiatives. Little Black Book was something we launched a few years ago as well as a community. At the end of 2009 we had Talking Point, and that's a forum where our customers can engage with us, and we're responding to them in that platform. So that's kind of on our own platforms, and then leveraging the social media platforms, we launched Facebook just over 3 weeks ago.
And more than 2,000 likes as of today, I believe.
Yeah, just up to 2,000, so we're really pleased with how that's going, and the quality of the conversations I think is really important for us, and that's what we're looking at in terms of Facebook. So for us, when we're looking at what's working and what's not, we're looking at what's driving those conversations and what people are engaging with. So Facebook. Twitter is definitely on our agenda. At the moment we have a PR Twitter stream, and what we're learning from that is that customers are willing to engage with us in that space, but clearly as a PR tool we need to get customers into their own space where we can help them from a customer services perspective. So that's definitely in the next few months something that we're working on getting live. YouTube's an obvious one. We can use that to share much more dynamic content, much more interesting sort of content. We can also use it to embed video within our website as well. So YouTube, we're looking at a refresh of the brand channel at the moment, and how we can make the content more valuable and how we can drive people to YouTube as well. And those are kind of our key ones. I guess the other side of it is blogs and forums. So where customers are asking questions, for example, Money Supermarket, Money Saving Expert, those kinds of places. Those are also areas that we're looking to get into, and from a customer service perspective, answer questions where we can be helpful.
Okay. We'll talk about that in a second. Maybe we also mentioned the social media newsroom, which is some kind of aggregation of your assets on Flickr, YouTube, blogs, and so on and so forth, right?
Yeah, social media newsroom is mainly a PR tool again, and it's something that Amanda looks after, and Rebecca, and it's a way for us to just let people know about little stories and the big stories as well. So it's somewhere where we can share, as you say, photos and video, and people can share the content as well. But that is primarily focused at journalists. So we're very clear in terms of the different audiences for the different platforms as well.
Sure. In terms of interacting with your advocates, detractors, the influencers basically, what's your experience on that? Social media changed everything, I'm tempted to say. Not just dealing with journalists anymore, but also bloggers, maybe like myself in terms of the industry. So, how valuable has it been to interact on social media channels?
I think it's been extremely valuable. We're learning all the time, and getting feedback from people like yourself and from other bloggers helps us to inform what we're doing, and it's in real time as well. So that's the key thing. It's not that we're getting feedback from a customer, say, through the customer service channel, and then eventually it ends up in marketing. It's actually something that we can see happen in real time, and we can respond to hopefully in real time as well. So if something goes wrong, or if something's gone really well, it's something that we can we can respond to straight away. And I think from our perspective, we've really enjoyed being in that space, because it's just like another conversation, and that's what First Direct is all about, is having those conversations and being as transparent and authentic in those spaces.
Magical conversations.
Magical conversations, yeah.
Forgot the magic.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Let's talk about the assets in more details, if it's okay with you. Yeah. You talked about a few things. YouTube, you're going to rebrand soon. More than 450,000 views, I believe, today. Twitter, again, you launched back in November 2008. So Twitter, PR mainly. More than 2,300 followers. You're in the top 10 in the UK in financial services. We're tracking that, In terms of content strategy, let's break it down by channel, if it's okay with you. I believe that you're tweeting today on that account roughly 1 or twice a day, no more than that. Any plan to change that in the future?
Something for Amanda to answer, really, I think, in terms of PR, but I guess it's what's relevant in that space. And certainly when we start to look at a customer service channel on Twitter, what we'll be looking at is responding to people and helping people, on a needs basis. So we're not seeing Twitter as a marketing opportunity, we're seeing Twitter as helping our customers and answering questions, pointing them in the right direction, and hopefully, solving their problems and queries. I guess Facebook is where it starts to become interesting, and where we can actually generate those conversations and lead those conversations. So the aim with Facebook is definitely to maintain an ongoing dialogue, so a daily dialogue. But we're very conscious not to flood people's wall posts with, 3, 4, 5 a day. We're very conscious about how we manage those, and trying to make it as engaging and interesting as possible. And so we don't just talk about banking, we talk about other things that people might find interesting and you might expect First Direct to be interested in as well.
That's exactly a question I have had, content strategy and your credibility or legitimacy, talking about topics like outside banking, from fashion, gadgets, technology, Pizza Express, so iPhone applications. Because you articulated that pretty well in your YouTube video about the Facebook page. I watched that carefully. So that's who you are, First Direct, and that's why you're fresh in banking and different.
And if you rang up as a customer and had a conversation with us about, if you were ringing to talk about your current account, the conversation, would flow as a normal conversation. So you would get your banking done, but you might have an experience with a customer representative who might ask you how your day was going, and you might get into a conversation about, the latest news topic, or, the fact that you might be getting married soon, and then you might start a conversation about that. And so actually, we feel that having those sorts of conversations on Facebook is just as relevant. It's quite natural for us to start doing that. It doesn't feel like it's too disconnected from what we already do, even though the topic is outside of banking. So we look for those sort of opportunities to have those topical and relevant conversations.
It's one way to create dialogues, as you said, and still to preserve and to cultivate your difference and compared to the major banks in the UK. So I saw that on Facebook. That's interesting. In terms of the dialogues, could you please maybe briefly, talk about that and your experience on Facebook so far? You had, I believe, a few interesting conversations there. Yeah. From any new product ideas or people wanting to interact on Facebook and not necessarily being diverted somewhere else. Could you please talk us through that?
So this is where the regulations come in, and obviously from a marketing and communications perspective, we want to do as much as we can in these spaces, but we've got to play within the rules of what we're allowed to do from a regulatory point of view. So we cannot have one-to-one private conversations about your personal banking in those spaces. It just makes sense. You don't want the world to know what you're doing with your banking. But at the same time, we had an example of somebody who was waiting for a credit card to be delivered, and he'd had some issues with the delivery. And he raised it on Facebook and kind of said, had a little bit of a rant. But actually, we were able to, to feed that into the business, to pick that up as a query, and to then take that into the relevant department and get it resolved within, a matter of days, and that was sorted, and the customer was happy. So, for us, we're seeing that as an opportunity, again, to help customers. And let them, if they want to raise those sorts of questions and queries in those spaces, they can. But obviously, we do have to guide them as to what's appropriate and what's not, just to protect them and to protect their security.
No, it makes sense. Again, customer support is important. That's why I've always wondered why First Direct wouldn't start sooner to really nail social media on the customer service side of things. But I believe you're gonna do something hopefully big sooner than later. But yes, Twitter, Facebook. Facebook is an interesting one. We monitor no more than 1,000 pages and applications worldwide, and more than 60% of the pages from banks, insurance, asset management firms, and so on and so forth are open to comments. Do you plan to open your page? Because today, as far as I know, it's not open, which means open. Anyone can post on the wall and not just respond to a wall post.
Again, this is to go through the internal processes. There are certain procedures we need to go through, and for the group, for First Direct, but also for the group that we're part of, HSBC, this is a new space for us to be in, and so we have to have certain measures and checks in place before we can move forward into those. But yeah, absolutely, that's something that we would like to do, and but again, there's legal considerations to think about in terms of what people might then post and where it might link away to, and those kinds of things. So we have to have checkpoints in place to caveat those. So yeah, absolute ambition, but not right now.
Yeah, I think it brings a bit more. It makes it a bit more fluid, and you see other banks like Absa Bank in South Africa. They do that. They use their Facebook page, the official one. Okay, the wall is dedicated mainly to customer support. So it's interesting. It's quite unique.
Yeah.
But again, it makes it like a good usage, I think, of Facebook, and to link it back to some more like tangible customer queries, and that's one approach. But I understand it's not that easy to implement.
Not straight away, but yeah, as an ambition, definitely.
So yeah. And again, you want to be where your customers are.
Yeah.
So do you think, I mean, that's an interesting one on Facebook. Do you see that channel as an opportunity to sell financial products and or to have like one-to-one conversations in a private environment? Like ASB Bank in New Zealand, when they launched like in September last year a virtual branch, which is a web chat basically, secure web chat, or Crédit Agricole 6 months ago, which launched again chat on Facebook. So do you see that as an opportunity?
I think it's an opportunity. I think, again, to the point we mentioned earlier, it's about where our customers are going and what they are wanting from us. So I suppose we've been quite cautious about Facebook in using it as a sales channel. So we don't really want to be pushing too hard on that side of things. I don't think that's necessarily what people want from Facebook at the moment. I think people are still getting to grips with companies and organisations being on Facebook and how they respond. I mean, I know myself, I kind of follow quite a few, and I've recently started cutting back on them, because otherwise my wall just ends up with a load of posts from organisations rather than my friends.
Of course.
And for me, Facebook is more about friends and family connections and brands that I'm really interested in hearing from. So as a sales channel, it has the potential, but again, it's about making sure that we're sense checking that with our followers. And I think a recent example, we actually asked people who are following us on Facebook, right, we've been on Facebook 2 weeks now, what do you like about what we're doing, what don't you like? And we've had the odd post directing people to our summer campaign, so from a product perspective, but none of the feedback's come back saying that people weren't happy with our approach. In fact, it was, on the whole, it was really positive. So. And we'll keep checking in with that community as well to make sure we're doing the right thing for them.
First Direct is a good example of that, having that conversation. It's a two-way conversation, not just push, which is not social media, but most financial institutions do that, exciting, okay, thanks for that, In terms of metrics, so KPI / the almighty ROI, okay, could you please share a bit on that topic, like maybe by channels or in general? Anything you could share?
Yeah, I mean, I think for each channel, obviously, you want to look at the engagement. So at the moment, the metrics are, number of fans, number of subscribers on YouTube, number of followers on Twitter. So those would be, your basic KPIs. But then beyond that, I think it's important to look at engagement. So on Facebook, we can see post by post the sort of content that people are actually engaging with and responding to. And I think so we need to then sort of ratchet that up to a total level to see what are the sorts of things that people are then, what's the overall engagement for Facebook and what's the overall sort of interaction, how many tweets are being retweeted.
Cloud score? like
Yeah.
influence as well.
Yeah, influence as well, absolutely. And I think that in terms of ROI, it depends on where you start out. So if you're looking at, we talked about sales, if you're using Facebook as a sales channel, then obviously you're going to look to see what you've got off the back of that.
Which is quite difficult to track back as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
but we're talking share of voice, NPS, recommendations, positive versus negative comments. But in your case, you were so high anyway from the get-go.
Positive versus negative is definitely something we've always tracked that anyway. The live microsite that we launched at the end of 2009 was definitely one where we tracked the positives and negatives, and yes, it is quite high, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be high, and so keeping a real-time check on that is important.
It's offline, right?
No,
it's still on. Okay, I couldn't find it.
It is,
okay.
yeah. It's firstdirect.com/live.
Okay.
So it was down a few months ago just because we had to, the widgets that were on there, we needed to repurpose them.
Okay, I see.
But it is back
so it's still available on the
it's still there.
on the forget about banking or section or something like that.
Exactly.
I like that.
Banking. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. Know your followers is very important. That's a concept I came up with, but it's good to build communities, but it's better to know who they are. Do you have any tips you can share? Because it's quite tricky to know who is following you on Twitter, real people, real influencers, and or on Facebook. Did you find ways to do that?
On Twitter, obviously, because that's still very much a PR channel for Amanda, I think a lot of it will be people that she already knows and people that she works with on a daily basis. So it's from then, you can see who the influencers are and who the key people are who are following you.
On Facebook, which is a different ball game.
Facebook's a different ball game and also is new for us as well. So 2,000 followers. I would say from what we know at the moment in terms of the interactions we've had, the majority of those are customers, and you can tell from, they talk about their experiences with banking with First Direct, and so I do think that we will have a high engagement from existing customers, but the hope is obviously that the message then is spread out beyond that core group of customers to non-customers who might be interested to find out what we have to say. So.
Okay, good. Thank you for that. Little Black Book.
Yes.
So you're gonna rebrand it potentially?
Yes.
What's next? An iPhone
we're
app?
We're looking at a rename of it and a relaunch of Little Black Book.
See, I didn't say My Little Black Book actually.
Yeah.
For a change, but
No, it's been around for a couple of years now, and what we've established is a community of people who are sharing their recommendations and their ideas in terms of other things that and other experiences that they've had that they really value. And the idea for that is to take that community forward to the next stage and allow greater interaction and actually potentially look to customers to populate it, but for non-customers to be able to look in, I guess, and to experience what Little Black Book is all about and to get a view of the world of First Direct as well. And definitely an app is on the cards for us. I think what we wanted to do though was get our transactional banking app out into the marketplace first, and then allow that to bed in, and then the other apps are following behind. But the app will follow once we've done the rebrand.
you still see Little Black Book, or I don't know, you've got a new name already you can share with us?
No, we haven't actually. I've got a meeting later on today to talk about it, so yeah. Perfect.
You still see that as valuable and definitely one key asset for
a
First
key
Direct.
asset for us. I think if we if we're entirely honest, it's probably a community that we need to cherish a bit more and to nourish and to bring along. And the website redesign, which the concepts are on lab at the moment,
Yes.
that is all about how do we bring that content to the fore and how do we integrate it more into our website, so that things like Little Black Book aren't sitting off as an external microsite and they're sort of integrated into the experience online.
I've got many suggestions, so hopefully we can share. We can talk offline there.
Yeah.
Last but not least, new CEO is starting soon,
Yes.
so succeeding Matt Colebrook. So we've got Mark Merlin.
Yes.
Matt Colebrook and Mark Merlin.
Yeah.
It's great news in terms of social media to take it to the next level.
So absolutely, I worked with Mark before when he was here as head of marketing.
Okay.
He's, I think it would be really exciting times for us. And hopefully an advocate to help us, develop the social media agenda and to keep pushing, and to pioneer it within the group as well. so that the rest of the group can learn from what we're doing and hopefully, you know, follow as well. So yeah, exciting times for us.
Awesome. Okay. Thanks a lot, Natalie.
Good, thank you for coming.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks a lot.